Hi there, my name is Tara Thompson and I am a early childhood educator too, currently working towards my ECE3. I've worked in the field of childcare for over 10 years now, and I can say I've grown so much by advancing my education and by learning from my many interactions with children. So I'm here today to show you how process art encourages children to develop their senses through a truly creative experimental process. Process art is an experience focused on the process or the actual act of doing the activity itself. Process art allows for the child to explore art materials and mediums freely without the added pressure of an end result or finished product. So I'm going to take a minute here and show you a quick clip from a child's perspective of a process art activity. When you introduce an activity that focuses on the end result or the finished product with specific instructions such as cutting and pasting objects onto a template, you are now implementing product art. So I'm going to take a minute again and show you an example of a product art activity. The main difference between process and product art is that process art does not have predetermined outcomes or specific rules, and in this way, it's a more open-ended experience. And one of the most notable benefits of process art is that it provides a sensory learning experience for the child, which of course helps to develop their senses. As an example, we can imagine that we're setting up an activity for a child. So you ask the child what paint colors they like. You make sure the paints are in child-sized squeezable bottles. So the child comes, they squeeze their paint on the paper, and they giggle because it makes a squirting noise. So you offer them a few paintbrushes, one with soft bristles, one with hard bristles, a sponge, and a piece of paper. The child begins by taking the paintbrush and feeling its bristles. Pokey, they say, and they put it back. They grab the soft paintbrush. They dip it into the paint and they make a long swipe on their paper. You make a mental note of how they're holding the paintbrush. So in this moment, the child is feeling two distinct textures, hard and soft. They're experiencing the difference in a concrete way. The child is also learning about their likes and their dislikes. They are also developing their fine motor skills as they hold and handle the paintbrush. So the child hesitates for a moment and puts the paintbrush back. They start to touch the red paint they had squeezed with their hand. They rub it between their finger and thumb. They take a moment and they smell it. Ugh, yuck, they say. So in this moment, the child is smelling the paint. And although this may seem inconsequential in a way, it's actually helping the child to recognize what's pleasant and what's not in their environment. And this can help them with learning what is safe, what is not safe. So in this example, what would be safe to eat and what's not safe to eat. You don't interrupt, you observe. The child starts to move their hand over the red paint. They see how it's not enough paint, so they decide they need more. They take the bottle of red paint and they squeeze some onto their paper. They giggle again. This time you say, "Is that sound more of a squirt or a splat?" The child says, a splat. So in this moment, the child is experiencing cause and effect. By squeezing the bottle, the paint comes out. They're also hearing that sound that's making them giggle. The educator is also encouraging language development and possibly adding words to the child's vocabulary. So the child begins to run both hands in the paint. They pause and they look at their hands, fully covered in paint. They decide to smack the paper, making a handprint. Then they rub their hand over the blue paint and they see how the colors are changing right before their eyes. Look, they say, it turned purple. Wow, you say, how did that happen? The child explains how they mix the two colors. You inspire them by adding, I wonder what will happen if you keep doing that. So in this moment, the child is experimenting on their own and they're inspired by the educator to continue to keep doing that. So of course, they're going to happily continue to paint. So in being able to use their senses freely during this activity, the child felt the difference between hard and soft textures, worked to develop their fine motor skills, discovered their likes and their dislikes, what is pleasant, what is not, experienced cause and effect, talked with the educator, and the educator possibly added words to their vocabulary, and they experimented with the concept of color mixing. So these wonderful things are what make process art such a beneficial thing for children, and I really hope this video inspires you as an educator or a parent or maybe a family member or just someone who is around children to do some fun process art with the children in your life. And thank you for watching.